I took out my phone and slid it across the table. She reluctantly picked it up. There, she found screenshots of Damien's debt records, evidence of his failed businesses, and court documents proving the money he owed to some extremely dangerous people. She looked up at me, her eyes wide, still thinking that he was better than me in every way. I arched a brow. Her hands shook. "Don't worry," I said, standing up. "You have plenty of time to figure things out because—" I gestured toward the door. "You won't be staying here." She initially refused to leave. "You can't kick me out," she said. I just laughed. "Oh, Sophie. I already did." That's when she noticed her credit cards had declined, her bank account had been emptied, and her belongings were already packed in a suitcase by the door. She choked on her words, and I smiled. "You took everything," she whispered. Feeling entirely helpless, she did something pitiful. She picked up her phone and called Damien. I laughed quietly as I watched her face go straight to voicemail. "Oh, I see now," I said, sighing dramatically. "I should have mentioned, Damien is having problems." Sophie's head snapped up, her lips quivering. What did you do?" I smirked. "I just accelerated the inevitable." Reality hit her all at once. She had nowhere to go and nothing left. She turned back to me, her eyes desperate. "Nathan." I held up a hand. "Don't bother." She finally broke down in tears, whispering, "I made a mistake." I glanced at her, unmoved. "Yes," I responded simply. "You did." She took a hesitant step forward. "Nathan, one more chance, please." I stared her dead in the eyes and delivered the final blow. "If you were the last woman on the planet, I wouldn't take you back." She sobbed. I turned away. Sophie stood frozen in the doorway, her world crumbling around her. Just hours ago, she had smirked with confidence, thinking she had won, that she had me wrapped around her finger. But now she was wrecked. Her hands trembled as she clutched the divorce papers she had thrown onto the table, believing she was in control. But control had slipped from her grasp. "Please, Nathan," she choked out. "I have nowhere to go." I leaned against the counter, sipping my drink slowly, letting her suffer. "You should have thought about that," I said calmly, "before you threw away your life for a man who's currently running for his." She flinched. "What do you mean?" I chuckled, shaking my head. "Oh, Sophie, did you really think Damien could just walk away from his debts? That his business partners wouldn't notice he's been living large on borrowed money?" Her face paled. "Where is he?" I checked my watch. Probably halfway to nowhere by now. "But those people he owes." I smirked. "They don't forget." Sophie stumbled back, gripping the doorframe like her knees were about to give out. "But you said—" I said I accelerated the inevitable. I tilted my head, watching her panic unfold. What do you think happens when a desperate man with a gambling problem is suddenly exposed? Tears streamed down her face. I shrugged. "Actions have consequences, sweetie. You just didn't expect to face yours." She collapsed onto the couch, completely broken. But I wasn't finished. The next morning, news broke. Local businessman Damien Clark has vanished amid a financial scandal. Authorities are looking into a possible link to organized crime. I read the headline while enjoying my coffee and grinned. I knew exactly what had happened to him. Debts, scams, and risky relationships, all revealed. Damien had left town. And I had insured it. Sophie, now completely alone, spent the night pleading with him through texts and phone calls. But she didn't look like the confident woman who had thrown the divorce papers in my face. "Nathan," she murmured, her voice shaky. "Can we talk?" I put down my coffee and met her desperate eyes. "We talked," I said. But not about what she wanted. I arched an eyebrow. "We're not there." She gasped. "Please, I know I made a mistake, but I don't want to lose you." I stared at her for a while, then laughed deeply. "You don't want to lose me?" I repeated, my voice laced with mockery. I leaned in closer, my voice razor-sharp. "Sophie, you humiliated me. You looked me in the eye and declared that he was superior to me in every way." She flinched. "You threw me away for him." She started to speak, to fight back, but I cut her off. "How's that going for you?" She winced. "I was foolish," she whispered. I leaned back, grinning. "Yes, you were." Her eyes filled with tears once more. "Nathan." I shook my head and let out a steady breath. "I loved you." She reached for my hand, desperate. I pulled away. "I wouldn't take you back if you were the last woman on earth." Her face collapsed. With her last hope gone, she wept. "What should I do?" she whispered. I stood up, grabbed my coffee, and with absolute indifference said, "You'll figure it out." Then I walked away. Forever. Sophie left that morning with nowhere to go. Damien was gone. No one to turn to. She tried calling her friends, but no one wanted to hang out with the woman who had lost everything. And me? I was thriving. Then, one afternoon, while enjoying a quiet drink at a high-end bar, I saw her sister, Claire. She slid into the seat across from me, her voice soft. "You really did it." I took a sip of my drink. She smirked. "You took them both down." She chuckled, stirring her glass. "Do you regret anything?" I smirked. "Not a damn thing." Claire leaned back, shaking her head. "You know, Sophie's been calling me non-stop, begging for help." She laughed. "So I told her the same thing you did." Claire smiled. "Not my problem." I felt lighter than I had in years as I clinked my glass against hers. Some betrayals shatter you, but if you're smart, they make you stronger. And I had never been stronger. Months later, as I sat in my penthouse, gazing over the London skyline, I thought about everything I had lost. A wife. A friend. But I had gained something far more valuable. Freedom. I had walked away without a second thought. And Sophie? The last I heard, she was living in a cheap apartment, struggling to find a job. She had underestimated me. She had thought I was weak. But she was wrong. I never lose. I smirked, took another sip of my drink, and let the satisfaction settle in. Revenge isn't just about payback. It's about ensuring they never recover.